Such was the quarrel between Agamemnon, king of men, and great Achilles. My dear son, because of that quarrel, many brave men and great captains whom I remember went down to their deaths. But Agamemnon before long relented, and he sent 3 envoys to make friendship between himself and Achilles. The envoys were Odysseus and Aias and the old man Phoenix, who had been a foster father to Achilles. Now, when these 3 went into the hut, they found Achilles sitting with a lyre in his hands, singing to the music he made. His song was of what Thetis, his goddess mother, had told him concerning his own fate, how, if he remained in the war against Troy, he should win for himself imperishable renown, but would soon lose his life, and how, if he left the war, his years in his own land should be long, although no great renown would be his. Patroclus, his dear friend, listened to what Achilles sang, and Achilles sang of what royal state would be his if he gave up the war against the Trojans and went back to his father's halls. Old Peleus would welcome him, and he would seek a bride from him from amongst the loveliest of the Greek maidens. In 3 days, he sang, can Poseidon, god of the sea, bring me to my own land and to my father's royal castle. Well dost thou sing, Achilles, said Odysseus to him, and pleasant would it be to hear thy song if our hearts were not filled with great griefs. But have not 9 years passed away since we came here to make war on Troy? And now are not our ships' timbers rotted and their tacklings loosed? And do not many of our own warriors think in their hearts how their wives and children have been long waiting for their return? And still the walls of Troy rise up before us, as high and as unconquerable as ever. No wonder our hearts are filled with grief. And now Achilles, the greatest of our heroes, and the Myrmidons, the best of our warriors, have left us and gone out of the fight. Even today did great Hector turn back our battalions that were led by Agamemnon and Aias and Diomedes, driving us to the wall that we have built around our ships. Behind that wall we halted and called one to the other to find out who had escaped and who had fallen in the onslaught Hector made. Only when he had driven us behind our wall did Hector turn back his chariot and draw off his men. But Hector has not gone through the gates of the city. Look now, Achilles, his chariots remain on the plain. His watchfires, 1,000 fires thou canst see, and beside each sits 50 warriors with their horses loose beside their chariots, champing barley. Eagerly they wait for the light of dawn, when they will come against us again, hoping this time to overthrow the wall we have builded and come to our ships and burn them with fire, and so destroy all hope of our return. We are all stricken with grief and fear. Even Agamemnon weeps. We have seen him standing before us like unto a dark fountain breaking from some beetling cliff. How else could he but weep tears? Tomorrow it may be he shall have to bid the host draw the ships to the water and depart from the coast of Troy. Then will his name forever be dishonored because of the defeat and loss of so many warriors. Deemest thou that I grieve for Agamemnon's griefs, Odysseus? Said Achilles. But although thou dost speak of Agamemnon, thou art welcome, thou and thy companions. Even in my wrath you are dear to me. He brought them within the hut, and bade a feast be prepared for them. To Odysseus, Aias, and Phoenix wine cups were handed, and when they had feasted and drunk wine, Odysseus turned to where Achilles sat on his bench in the light of the fire, and said, Know, Achilles, that we three are here as envoys from King Agamemnon. He would make a friendship with thee again. He has injured and he has offended thee, but all that a man can do he will do to make amends. The maiden Briseis he will let go back. Many gifts will he give thee too, Achilles. He will give thee 7 tripods, 20 cauldrons, and 10 talents of gold. Yes, and besides 12 royal horses, each one of which has triumphed in some race. He who possesses these horses will never lack for wealth as long as prizes are to be won by swiftness. And hearken to what more Agamemnon bade us to say to thee. If we win Troy, he will let thee load your ship with the spoil of the city, with gold and bronze and precious stuffs. And thereafter, if we win to our homes, he will treat thee as his own royal son, and will give thee 7 cities to rule over. And if thou wilt wed, there are 3 daughters in his hall, and the one thou wilt choose he will give thee for thy wife. So Odysseus spoke, and then Aias said, Think, Achilles, and abandon now thy wrath. If Agamemnon be hateful to thee, and if thou despiseth his gifts, think upon thy friends and companions, have pity upon them, even for our sakes, Achilles. Arise now, and go into battle, and stay the onslaught of the terrible Hector. Achilles did not answer. His lion's eyes were fixed upon those who had spoken, and his look did not change at all for all that was said. Then the old man Phoenix, who had nurtured him, went over to him. He could not speak, for tears had burst from him, but at last, holding Achilles' hand, he said, In thy father's house did I not rear thee to greatness, even thee, most noble Achilles? And with me and none other wouldest thou go into the feast hall, and, as a child, thou wouldest stay at my knee and eat the morsel I gave, and drink from the cup that I put to thy lips. And I suffered and toiled much, that thou mightest have strength and skill and quickness. Be thou merciful in thy heart, Achilles. Be not wrathful any more. Cast aside thine anger now, and save the host. Come now, the gifts Agamemnon would give thee are very great, and no king nor prince could despise them. But if without gifts thou wouldest enter the battle, then above all heroes the host would honor thee. Achilles answered Phoenix gently, and said, The honor the host would bestow upon me I have no need of, for I am honored in the judgment of Zeus, the greatest of all the gods. And while breath remains with me, that honor cannot pass away. But do thou, Phoenix, stay with me, and many things I shall bestow upon thee, even half my kingdom. But urge me not to help Agamemnon, for if thou dost, I shall look upon thee as a friend to Agamemnon, and I shall hate thee, my foster father, as I hate him. Then to Odysseus Achilles spoke and said, Son of Laertes, wisest of men, hearken now to me what I say unto thee. Here I should have stayed and won that imperishable renown that my goddess mother told me of, even at the cost of my young life, if Agamemnon had not aroused the wrath that now possesses me. Know that my soul is implacable toward him. How often did I watch out sleepless nights? How often did I spend my days in bloody battle for the sake of Agamemnon and his brother's cause? Why are we here if not because of lovely Helen? And yet one whom I cherished as Menelaus cherished Helen had been taken from me by order of this king. He would let her go now, but no, I do not desire to see Briseis ever again, for everything that comes from Agamemnon's hand is hateful to me. Hateful are all the gifts he would bestow upon me, and him and his treasures I hold at a straw's worth. I have chosen. Tomorrow I shall have my myrmidons draw my ships out to sea, and I shall depart from Troy to my own land. Said Aias, have the gods, Achilles, put into your breast a spirit implacable and proud above all men's spirits? Yes, said Achilles. My spirit cannot contain my wrath. Agamemnon has treated me not as a leader of armies who won many battles for him, but as a vile sojourner in his camp. Go now and declare my will to him. Never again shall I take thought of his war. So he spoke, and each man took up a two-handed cup and poured out wine as an offering to the gods. Then Odysseus and Aias in sadness left the hut. But Phoenix remained, and for him Patroclus, the dear friend of Achilles, spread a couch of fleece and rugs. Odysseus went along the shore of the sea and by the line of the ships, and came to where Agamemnon was with the greatest of the warriors of the host. Odysseus told them that by no means would Achilles join in the battle, and they were all silent with grief. Then Diomedes, the great horseman, rose up and said, let Achilles stay or go, fight or not fight, as it pleases him. But it is for us who have made a vow to take Priam's city to fight on. Let us take food and rest now, and tomorrow let us go against Hector's host, and you, Agamemnon, take the foremost place in the battle. So Diomedes spoke, and the warriors applauded what he said, and they all poured out libations of wine to the gods, and thereafter they went to their huts and slept. But for Agamemnon the king, there was no sleep that night. Before his eyes was the blaze of Hector's 1,000 watchfires, and in his ears were the sound of pipes and flutes that made war music for the Trojan host encamped upon the plain.